Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peak Speak. Today, we have another episode of Peak Speak. Now, it's been a little over a month. I try to do one of these about once a month, but I kind of wait until I feel like I have something worthwhile to say and not just waste anybody's time. And so, in these episodes of Peak Speak, we talk about whatever's on our mind. And today, what's on my mind is saying what needs to be said. And that's not always easy. And sometimes it's good things and sometimes it's bad things. But I think it's important to say what needs to be said. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm no kind of authority on anything, so you don't really necessarily have any reason to listen to me, but I've been around a little while. I've seen a few things, and I feel like I have a platform here where I can share a little bit of that. And so once a month, I try to do that. And I'll tell you what triggered today's thoughts was I have a good friend who was just recently diagnosed with very serious cancer. A really bad diagnosis, and something that I watched my own dad go through. It's not easy. And this friend is somebody who honestly I probably hadn't talked to in several years, but he was a big part of my teenage years, a little bit older than me. We are both Christians, and we've crossed paths through church meetings and things like that, and so we've remained acquainted, live a long ways apart, and so that's just kind of the way that life goes. But hearing that he was going through this really had me stopping and thinking. Of course, the first thing is how much I hate it that he's having to go through the pain, and how much I hate it for his family to have to go through dealing with all that cancer brings. And I'd say probably everybody out there watching this has been through this with somebody that they love, and it's not easy. But I sat down today and I pulled out a card and tried to just put a few thoughts on it to send to the family and to my buddy to let him know that I care. And I didn't say much. I just tried to let him know that he's a good man, and I recognize that, and a whole lot of other people recognize that. And as I wrote that, it was kind of difficult. Kind of hard to think of the right thing to say, the right way to phrase it. It's just not easy. But at the same time, I thought, man, it's not easy for them to go through what they're going through. And a little bit of encouragement can go a long way. And so I share all that, not to bring anybody down, because this is not all, sadness and heartache kind of thing. I've also been thinking about this because my wife and daughter just opened their new coffee shop, and they're getting the experience of training new employees. And in training new employees, you figure out very quickly that not everybody is blessed with the gift to see what needs to be done and do it. There are people who absolutely need to be directed. And I come from a family of people who are pretty much go-getters, and they try to see what needs to be done and do it. Not always the best at it, but they're at least not going to be called lazy. But you can't say that about everybody. So some people need direction. And for my wife and daughter, this is a whole new realm for them, because they've not been managers before. They're good at what they do, but they've not had to tell people what to do. And at first, I could tell they were a little bit hands-off with that, kind of hoping people would figure it out or try to drop hints. And as I kind of stood back and watched, every evening they come home and they probably dread to sit down and talk to me, but we would try to have these little powwows and talk about how the day went, the things that went wrong, and then I would try to offer a little bit of advice from my experience in managing and facilitating flow and making things efficient, and just trying to help them out. And I told them, I said, I'm not trying to be critical. I want to give you the tools, or I want to be able to try to share something that's going to help make your day easier. And so one of the things that I told them is, it's not mean to tell somebody what it is that they're supposed to be doing if they don't see it. Because ultimately, what's going to happen if you don't is you're either going to wait until you get so mad that you can't hold it back, and then you just blow it all out on them at once, and that doesn't go over well. Or they're going to fail and end up quitting the job or walking away from the job frustrated, or thinking that you don't like them and so you don't want to invest in them. So it's a service to both of you to just say what needs to be said. Now, one of the things I've always kind of struggled with just a little bit is doing it in the right way. You don't want to have an attitude. You don't want to come off like, I'm smarter than you, I know what I'm talking about, and you need to listen to me. But especially if you're in a position of management or authority, your employees deserve direction so that they know where you're trying to lead them. So it's important to say what needs to be said. When it comes to family, if things get on your nerves, you know, we kind of deal with things by joking around and carrying on, and most of the time that goes okay. Sometimes the jokes come up short and they don't hit like they're supposed to, and that can cause some problems. But for the most part, we're a pretty open family. We say what's on our mind, and everything goes pretty well. But it's important with your family to say what needs to be said. So if things are bothering you or frustrating you, you need to speak up and say those things. Sometimes it's hard to find the right time to do it, the right way to say it, but say what needs to be said. And even more important than that, when you care about people, say what needs to be said. Now I'm going to tell you, if you've got an 18-year-old son and you grab him and pull him over to you and you tell him, I love you, man, he's probably going to look at you a little funny, especially if it's not something that you're used to doing, but he'll never forget that. Life's short. And you know, none of us really know when it's going to be up for us or what we're going to run into. We don't want to leave people wondering where they stood, because most of the time, especially with, you know, the people that are close to you, you care, you love them, and you want them to know that. So I hope this is something that will just be an encouragement to you to stand up and be direct, say what needs to be said. The good things and the bad things need to be said, but we need to say them the right way. We need to treat people right, talk to them the right way, keep the right tone. It's always good to give people the information to succeed, and it's always good to encourage people. So that's our thoughts for today. You may think I'm kind of corny. I guess having a little bit of a tough time. It's hard to see people you care about hurt. So if you can do something to ease that just a little bit, you want to do everything you can. So that's kind of why I'm talking about this today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good day.